Pro-Palestinian rallies have been held across the world to demand an end to the bloodshed in Gaza amid the regime's brutal aggression against the blockaded territory. Now in London, tens of thousands marched through the streets of the capital to call for a stop to the Israeli carnage. They waved Palestinian flags in a show of solidarity with the oppressed people of Palestine. In Sydney, people held protest rallies to condemn the regime's onslaught on Gaza. Protesters chanted "Palestine will never die" as they gathered outside Sydney's town hall. Other Australian cities, including Brisbane and Perth, also witnessed rallies in support of Palestinians. The Thai capital was also the scene of a similar demonstration. Hundreds gathered outside the Israeli embassy in Bangkok to demand an end to the regime's aggression. Now, to talk more on these demonstrations, we are joined by Mr. Tony Gosling, investigative journalist from Bristol. Welcome to Press TV, Mr. Gosling.
Hi.
Now, Mr. Gosling, we've seen mass pro-Palestine rallies across the world. I want to talk about the significance of these rallies. In the US, progressive legislators have introduced a congressional resolution urging an immediate ceasefire, which was backed by more than a dozen Democratic members of the House of Representatives. Now, today we saw a massive and unprecedented rally in central London to demand an immediate ceasefire to the Israeli onslaught. We had 100,000 or more taking part in the National March for Palestine. So my question is, could we see similar calls or action with British officials or MPs?
Well, they may listen to the protesters or they may not listen. But I mean, you're right, 100,000 people at least. So the estimates are between 100 and 300,000. So we can say probably around about 200,000. We had a similar demonstration in size last Saturday, so this is becoming a regular thing as a reaction to these Israeli atrocities, which is quite a good thing to see in London. And the reason why it's surprising is because the weather in London today was terrible, torrential rain. So for 200,000 people to come out on the streets in support of Palestine really does show you that there is this across the board. And one of the most fantastic things to see has been both the secular and the Orthodox and religious Jews all coming out in support of Palestine. So we've had the Neturei Charta. This is the Jews United Against Zionism, Orthodox Jews, who were actually founded in 1938. They go back a long, long way, burning the Israeli flag, for example, which is something that the British police try to stop. But also secular Jews coming out, Jews Against Genocide, and one of their members was commenting that Jews have had an experience of genocide. So that's why they're there, because they're saying that they don't want to see the same thing repeated in Gaza. The British Home Secretary has tried to stop the chanting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, which is what you'll be hearing all across London these Saturdays. And of course, it's pointless. The police have actually said it's not illegal, it's not a problem. And anyway, even if they did change the law to try and make it illegal, they wouldn't be able to stop 200,000 people chanting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. So it's been actually quite heartening to see today such a positive reaction from the people of London, the people of Britain. Also, separate demonstrations even here in Bristol going on right across the country in support of Gaza.
Mr. Gosling, you said about you talked about the Israeli flag being burned. Now we've seen in many Western countries, I think it was Sweden, if I'm not mistaken, burning the Holy Quran. Now you said they said it's freedom of speech, you can do this, but how come in England or other countries you can't burn the Israeli flag?
Well, this is at least this is my understanding is that it's viewed as a hate crime by some of the police. Well, you know, the thing is, sometimes they can enforce these things and sometimes they can't. You know, the other very important fact is that you've had Rishi Sunak come back, the Prime Minister come back to Britain on Friday, yesterday, to find after his disastrous trip to the Middle East to endorse genocide, he's come back to find a 24% swing in these two by-elections against him and against his party, which means the Labour Party now stands to make in the next general election, beginning of next year, or end of next year even, will make a majority. So this trip has been a total disaster for him and his party. And that, I think, is important to understand, that he's paid a terrible political price for flying out to the Middle East and making friends with Netanyahu at this appalling time as this genocide has been going on. So I think what we're witnessing around the world, though, is it's not just a humanitarian crisis. It's in a way, it's a global Netanyahu crisis, even with demonstrations taking place in Tel Aviv outside the Defense Ministry by thousands of people, including those relatives of the people who've been taken hostage in Tel Aviv. Of course, these demonstrations have been going on all year so far, every Saturday, against the attempts of Netanyahu to make himself above the law so he doesn't have to go to jail. He should be in jail by now, but he's managed to wriggle out of it so far. And of course, he himself has brought about the situation which we may see the end of the Israeli state. If, for example, if he starts to kick off in Gaza, there may well be a major war take place in the Middle East, which could see the end of Israel. So he's created this crisis by, in his own country, and it's also had these shockwaves around the world, which have meant that millions of people, literally today, millions of people around the world in capital cities have been out on the streets protesting against him and his lies. Let's say it as it is. They lied about the Baptist Hospital massacre, and actually most of the world knows it. On British television, we've had exposés explaining that actually the Israelis tried to fabricate a lie, saying that Hamas had sent this bomb over. So everybody knows he's a liar. Around the world now, I mean, I'm not sure about other countries, certainly in Britain, people were disgusted to see that the Israeli Defence Force would lie about something like that, and it's now been exposed in Britain. But I mean, we are known in some ways as the Anglo-Zionist Empire, as the empire of lies. That's what Putin called us, and Bibi seems to be the leader right now.
On that note, I would like to thank Mr. Tony Gosling, investigative journalist from Bristol. Thank you, sir.